I messed up the original intro, but your reminder that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the cult. Let me say that again. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the cult. And on a completely separate note, check out my new desk bed. The setup goes absolutely insane. Work just got put on X Games mode, guys. Hello humans, and welcome back to another episode of RD2H Road to Happiness. I swear that every single time that I feel called to make an episode and it truly feels like it's something I have to do in that moment, something happens to the file. I literally can't make this up. Every single time that I literally feel called to make an episode, I'm like, I have to record this right now. The message is so clear. I'll record the entire episode and there's no sound. Absolutely no sound. So I just made an episode. It was literally 25 minutes long and it's so late right now. So late and there was no sound. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, seriously? I swear, every time it's something that I feel like I have to get out in this moment, no sound. And so I got home from work today at 11. I got home from the office at 11 p.m. I recorded the episode. I think it's 12:30 right now because it didn't record any sound, but I'm not going to give up that easy. Devil's not going to get us that easy. I'm just going to re-record it. So the last few weeks, I just really haven't had any inspiration to record. And, I'll go through phases where I feel like if I were, I feel like I'm falling off on the podcast. And I feel like if I were to record, it would just be me forcing myself for the purpose of quantity. And I'll go through 2 or 3 weeks and I'll have no inspiration to record. But I find that no matter how far I drift from the podcast and how busy life gets, in the most unexpected of moments, God always brings me back to this podcast. I truly feel like this is bigger than myself, and even if I try to stray away from it, He brings me back here. So today I felt really inspired and called to finally record an episode, and I'm starting to learn the difference between my ego talking and God's voice talking. Because when it's my ego talking, it's we have to produce content just for the purpose of being productive and for the purpose of being consistent. And when it's God talking, it's he won't give me a message for a while and I'll feel I'm falling off or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then all of a sudden, he brings it to me and He brings me back here. So it's just more proof for me that His timing is perfect, and it might not make sense to me and the way that our society runs, where it's you have to be producing and you have to force yourself to action, where this for me is very spiritual. So it's Him leading it and leading the timing and being even though I'm not giving you something right now to talk about, I will bring you back when my timing says so. So today I had a really tough work week. I'm not gonna lie, this week gave me a run for my money, to say the least. I've had a lot of late nights this week and I've been working really hard, and it's Saturday right now and I got home from the office at about 11 p.m. I left the office at 10, and I got home at 11 because I went and I walked my dog, took him to the park. He stayed in the office with me all day, and he was a very patient boy, and I know it was the last place he wanted to be, so I was like, you deserve to go to the park, and I'll take you to the park, and I'll do that for you because you earned it, to be honest. And so after I left the office at 10 p.m. and I hit my goal, I took him to the park, and I like to use the park as a place for me to just reflect, talk to God, and no music, no anything. That's my time to think and have my thoughts and decompile everything and to talk to God and to listen and to just be, present. And so that's what I use my time with my dog as he's running around. And so after a long day, I went to the park and I'm just thanking God. I'm thanking God for every opportunity He's placed in my life. And a lot of people might look at the late nights. You're at the office till 10 p.m. on a Saturday. But for me, it's how many times did I stay up in my last season praying for just the opportunity to be in the game. That's what I was saying at the park today. How many times in the last season did we have late nights that we didn't think we were going to make it through? How many times was I working in college and not thinking that it was ever going to pay off? And how many times was I sitting there praying just for the opportunity to step in the game, just the opportunity to graduate, the opportunity to prove my worth, the opportunity to compete? How many times did I stay up just praying for him to open that door? And so now that he has opened that door, I moved to LA, I got my dream job. It's taking some grit, it's taking some work, it's taking some late nights, and we knew that was going to happen. So for me, it's like, how can I be upset that I'm in the office until 11 on a Saturday? Like, how can I be upset when that's exactly what I prayed for? It's exactly what I asked for in my last season. That's exactly what, I begged God to give me, just the opportunity to prove that I can make it. I never asked him to give it to me on a silver platter. Never asked for a handout. I asked for the opportunity to step into the room and be given a shot. That's what I asked for. And now that he's given me that shot, how can I be mad when I'm working for it and I'm putting in the hours and I'm going to practice, so to say? How can I be mad when I have to go to practice when I prayed to be on the team? That makes no sense to me. So it's not like something that like burdens me at all. It's honestly like something that lifts me up. Like, I'm so grateful for these nights that I get to stay in the office till 11 p.m. because how many times did I ask for you to just give me the opportunity to step into the office? So yeah, I never asked him for it to be easy. I asked him just to give me a chance. I said, I will do what I need to do to get to where I want to go, but can you just make that an option? Can you just give me the opportunity into the game? And so while I was walking after my late night, I was just thanking God. I'm like I'm standing in blessings right now. I live in LA. I'm in my dream field. Yeah, I'm working late nights, but that's exactly what I asked for. Like, I'm standing in so many answered prayers, and I'm just thanking him because, from an outside view, it might seem like a lot of work, but in reality, like, I'm doing what needs to be done. I'm given the opportunity to play in the game, and I can't be mad when I have to go to practice, to be honest. And so on that, I saw something earlier this week that was like a great analogy that really resonated with me, and it was Peter in the Bible. He's fishing on the Sabbath, and you're not supposed to work on the Sabbath, but he has taxes he needs to pay, and so he's fishing on the Sabbath, and he's throwing out a net, it's empty, throwing out a net, it's empty, throwing out a net, it's empty. And then Jesus comes to him and says, throw out one more net, right? Throws out the net, and hundreds, if not thousands of fish hop into the net, and he's like, how is this possible? This is a miracle, right? So that's a story that we all know, right? But we forget about the next step, and we don't talk about the next step that happened after that, which is Peter had to pull all of that fish into the boat, right? So if you think about it logistically, if you get 100,000 fish into a net, that thing's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be heavy, and we don't talk about how much, it probably took him to actually pull all of that fish onto the boat. And so that's where I feel like I am right now, like where, I prayed and I prayed and I applied to jobs and I threw my hat into the ring and I worked the late nights and I studied and I studied and I studied and I said, God, just give me the opportunity. Give me the opportunity to take all these nights of studying and give me the opportunity to make it worth something, to prove that I'm capable, and give me the opportunity to set myself up for success and to enter the room. I never asked for him to give me everything. I asked him to let me into the room, just give me the shot to play, give me a shot to compete, right? So he said, cast your net one more time. He moved me to LA. He got me the internship. He gave me everything that I need. He took away all the distractions. He put me in a place where I am mentally capable of handling what I'm doing right now. I'm mentally capable of doing these late nights, staying in the office till 10 p.m., making sure that I don't do, anything until I complete my goals. He gave me the opportunity. And for me, that's like, he filled my net with fish. He gave me the job. He moved me here. He filled my net with fish. So in the instance, I've been praying, I've been casting this net. It's empty, it's empty, it's empty. Finally, there's fish. And I'm supposed to sit here and be mad that I have to take those fish and I have to pull the weight and I have to get them into the boat. So, that makes no sense. So I saw that analogy earlier this week, and it really resonated with me because it's exactly kind of where I'm at, where he's given me all of the blessings, but he never said that there was no work. And that's something in the story that we often miss is, cast the net one more time and you'll get all the fish. What happened after that? He still had to bring the fish onto the boat, which is extremely heavy. He still had to take them back to land. He still had to go to the market and sell the fish. It wasn't just, oh, here's everything you need. Like, if that was the case, God would have given him money to just go pay the tax collector, not just giving him a bunch of fish in the net, right? So he still had to do the work, but God gave him what he couldn't get himself, right? God gave him what he couldn't get himself, what was out of his control. But what is still in his control, getting the fish onto the boat, getting the fish to the market, filleting the fish, selling the fish, that's still all in his control. God's not going to do that for you. And so for me right now, God gave me what was not in my control. He gave me the internship. He gave me the apartment. He gave me the way to move to LA. He gave me the opportunity. He set me up in the room. But he never said he was going to do everything. I still have to take accountability to do the things that are in my control, like staying up until my goals are hit, making sure that I'm working and doing everything in my power to, get to this next step, putting in my work and putting in my part of it so I could get to that next step, because it's a relationship, right? It's me and him. He's doing his part. He got me here. He got me the apartment. He moved me to LA. So I still have to do my part if I want to get what he's promised me. It's a two-way street. So that's kind of what I was thinking this week. It gets hard. It gets heavy. My muscles get sore. I sweat a little bit. I feel the weight of the net. But how can I be mad on myself and the sacrifices I have to make to pull a fish onto the boat when all I did the entirety of my last season was pray for the net to be filled? And now that it's filled, I have to do my part. I have to pull the fish onto the boat. I have to take it to the market. I have to sell it before I can go pay that tax collector. So that's kind of just what I was thinking this week. And I was walking around the park with my dog, and I was just so thankful. So thankful. I'm just like, I'm standing in answered promises. I'm working late, but that's what makes it so worth it. I'm proving to myself what I'm capable of. I'm proving to myself that, there's nothing that's going to stop me, that my mindset and my relationship with God conquers all. I'm proving to myself that the impossible can be done. I'm proving, and I'm setting an example for others that, it is possible to put in those extra hours and to get what you want, and that obsession wins every time. Obsession wins every time. If you have tunnel vision on your goals, it's going to win every time. Obsession beats talent every single time. And so I wouldn't trade these nights for the world. Again, sometimes it gets heavy. Sometimes your body gets sore. Sometimes you start to sweat. But I wouldn't trade any of this for the world, because at the end of the nights like this where I get home super late, but I hit all my goals and I know that I sacrificed for what I'm getting and I know that I put the work in, the feeling that you get from those accomplishments is so much greater than any feeling you get from something that's handed to you or something that's easy and convenient, in my opinion. The just like overall peace in my life after I put in the work and then get to, see the results of that and just feel good about myself and know that I go the extra mile and that it's not a burden because it's something that God has placed into my life. It's such a better feeling than going out and getting easy happiness, getting easy, satisfaction. It's so much better to earn your satisfaction, and you don't understand that until you start to earn your satisfaction. You don't understand that until you start to sacrifice for what you want. You don't understand that until you have to feel the weight of what it takes to pull the fish onto the boat, instead of ending the story with, oh, he got so much fish, he's so lucky. Remembering that there's a second part to that story, he still had to do his part. And so that's kind of what I was thinking about at the park today. It's a 2-week streak. I can't expect God to bring me everything and to do everything that I ask him to do when I'm not holding up my part of the deal. It's a two-way relationship. I have to put my work in and then have the faith that as long as I'm putting my work in and taking care of what I know is in my control, he will take care of what is not in my control. But he's not going to just give it to me. He's going to take care and put me in the rooms that I need to be in and take care of the little instances that, are out of my control. As long as I'm planting the seeds, he will bring the rain. As long as I'm planting the seeds and tending to my land, he will bring the rain, he will bring the sun, he will bring whatever it needs to be brought that is out of my control to make sure I reap my harvest. But he's not going to plant the seeds for me. And so that's kind of what I was thinking about this today after my long day, and I was just so thankful that I just get an opportunity to compete. I get an opportunity to play this game. I get an opportunity to follow my dreams and to prove what I'm worth, because he has answered my prayers, because he has seen that I'm willing to tend to my garden. And so that's just something that I was thinking about, like I said. And I was also reflecting on some other hard times that I've had in my life. And a great example of, you don't always see it right away, but the hardest lessons that I've come to in this life are what have grown me, or brought that growth that has brought me to the person I am today, and brought the best lessons in my life. And a perfect example of that is my dog Milo. When I got Milo, he was a shelter dog, and he's a chocolate lab, and I got him for $30. And if that doesn't put into perspective, like, a $30 chocolate lab that's unheard of, okay? And I got him for $30 because they thought he was so far gone that nobody would want him. He was like just written off by the shelter. They were just trying to, anybody who would take him, because who would want this dog, right? Because he was just so far gone. He was so scared. And I remember I had $60 in my bank account the day I got him, and he was $30. I remember checking my bank account just to make sure I could afford him, because I am so broke, and I've been so broke, and I didn't even know if I had the $30 to pay him. And I was like looking at my bank account, and I had just enough to buy Milo that day. And the reason I got Milo was because they say the eyes are the window to the soul, and I truly believe that. And when your soul and your spirit is absolutely crushed, you can see it in the eyes. Somebody with a crushed spirit will look right through you. They're looking at you, but they're not looking at you. They're looking right through you. And Milo had those eyes, and he was looking right through me when I saw him. And I could tell that if he didn't have those little Frito paws, and he had opposable thumbs instead, he would have taken himself out. His spirit was done. You could tell that his spirit was done. And as personal as it sounds, I looked at Milo, and I saw a little bit of myself in him, because I've had those eyes before, and I've overcome them, and I'm at a place now where my spirit has been rebuilt, and it's fine. But I've had a broken spirit before, and I've had those eyes before, where you're disassociated and you're looking through people, and you're there but you're not there. I know exactly what that feels like. And so I looked into Milo's eyes, and I saw a little bit of myself in him, and I thought, I can help you. I know what your spirit's going through right now. And so I wanted to buy him, even though I had maybe $60 to my name that day. And the shelter didn't think that he was worth anything. A $30 chocolate lab, ridiculous. So I didn't know anything about dogs at the time, especially not shelter dogs. And when I got Milo, I brought him home, and he was a lot. He was very troubled and traumatized, and it took him a few days even to come up the stairs and to come see my apartment, because he was scared. He wasn't leash trained. He had a little bit of fear aggression that we had to work through. And I've only had 2 mental breakdowns in my entire life. One in high school when I was taking the AP Psych exam, and another one when I got Milo. And I'm talking full breakdowns, hyperventilating, having a panic attack, can't control yourself, breakdowns, panic attacks. I've only had 2. And so Milo gave me a panic attack when I first got him. I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, what did I do? I can't breathe. And there was so many times I wanted to take him back to the shelter, and I looked at rescue groups to take him back, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? And I kept telling myself, just one more day, just do it for one more day. And every day I would just say, one more day, just go one more day. And that lesson taught me a lot. It taught me so much. And I remember being with Milo at those beginning days and being like, God, you've always pulled through for me, but I don't think you know what you're doing with this one. And I don't think I can do this. And it's just too much for me right now. And I made a huge mistake. And I kept saying one more day. And now Milo is just... he's a rock in my life. I honestly, he is God-given. He is such an important part of my life, and I can't imagine my life without him. I couldn't do what I'm doing right now and build what I'm building and be in the isolation I'm in without him. I really couldn't. And I'm reflecting on this right now because this week we finally got him registered as a official service dog. And so many hours went into this. I would train him for 3 hours a day in the beginning stages. He goes everywhere with me. He goes up escalators now. He goes with me in the grocery store. We're planning our first flight in December. He's now a registered service dog. We're going to be going on our first commercial flight in December to Florida when I go back home to visit. And it's just like a dream that I had when I got him that I never thought would actually happen. And it's not because of anything other than I was able to push through those days where it felt impossible. And it felt like God's plan was just, I didn't see his vision. But he never gives you more than you're able to handle. And at the beginning, it might feel like pulling those fish into the boat is just so heavy, and you're not strong enough, and you can't do it, and yeah, you prayed for the fish, but not like this. You didn't expect it to be like this. You didn't expect it to be so heavy. You didn't, like, how does God expect you to take all of this pounds of fish, and how does he expect you to bring it into the boat? He must be crazy. But he wouldn't give it to you if he didn't think you were strong enough to reel it in. And so looking back on my experience with Milo, that was one of the hardest experiences I've ever been through. I mean, it gave me a full panic attack. The anxiety and changes that it was just like a bomb in my life. And it was an impulsive one. And it was just, for weeks and months on end, it felt like a bomb in my life. But he's a perfect example of most of the times when I feel like an absolute grenade has gone off in my life. Those are when my biggest blessings are actually coming into play, and it's not until everything settles and the dust settles that I look back and I'm like, if it wasn't for that bomb in my life, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and so happy with everything once time heals. Like, every experience I've had that has led me to who I am today and has been the biggest life lessons, at first felt like absolute grenades going off into what I built. But if it wasn't for that pressure, they say pressure makes diamonds, if it wasn't for that pressure, I would have never learned the lesson. And so I'm looking at my life right now in the same way. Sure, I'm working until 11. Sure, I'm doing crazy hours. Sure, I have no sleep. Sure, there's like no food in the fridge. But if it wasn't for this season, I wouldn't be becoming somebody capable of handling what God's about to give me. Like I said, God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And if you're called and you're getting qualified, it takes fire, like being put in the fire and molded into his image to get qualified. Being qualified is not an easy path, but it's worth it. And it's a path that, will bring you the most peace, but it is a path of hardship and struggle and life lessons and learning and bombs being placed into your life so that when the dust settles, you can rebuild in his image. And so that's the season I'm in, and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to even get the chance to, and that's just like the difference in looking in life like that makes all the difference. I am not in hardship struggle season because there's no food in the fridge and money's tight and I'm working late nights and I'm pretty isolated and I have just so much work to do. That's not a negative, that's a positive, because this is the hardship that God is putting me through to qualify me as a chosen. This is the hardship that God is putting me through so that I may become the person that he wants me to be, so I can get to those goals that I've been praying on. In order to get to those goals, I have to go through struggle and hardship, and I have to pull my side of the relationship so that he can pull his side. So it's a double, we're a team. I have to pull my weight, and in return of me planting the seeds, like I said, he will bring me the water. He will bring me the sunshine. He will bring me everything as long as I'm tending to my garden. And so for me, I felt so much gratitude. I hit my goals today. Yeah, I was in the office till 10 p.m., but I hit my goals. I had a fantastic week. I made this week my bitch. Did I sleep a lot? No. Did I struggle a little bit? Yes. Did I spend a little bit too much time in the office than a normal person? Probably. But I made this week my bitch. And that would not be possible if it wasn't for the mindset that he has given me up to this point. And so, like I said, no matter how long I go and work gets busy and I don't feel called to make these episodes, he somehow always brings me back. And when it's important and when he feels like I have a message that needs to be shared, I always get pulled back to these episodes. And so, like I said, it's learning that I might feel like I've gone too long without making an episode, and I might feel like maybe I'm off track. But when it's something that is in God's timing, he makes time, and he always places it on my heart, and he gives me this little spark of motivation when it's the right time. And his timing's always better than mine. Every single time his timing's better than mine. So I'd rather listen to that. And I'll get those spark of motivations all the time. Maybe I'll get a spark of motivation to work on databasing, which is something I do at work. And I'll just sit there for hours and I'll just feel motivated to do that. Sometimes I don't feel motivated to do that, but I'll get a spark to make an episode, or I'll get a spark to do this. And it's like he has a time under the heavens and under every, like, there's a season for everything under the heavens, right? It's like he has what he needs me to do, and I feel like I'm getting off track, but he's like, no, I want you to do this at this time, and you're supposed to be working on this at this time. So I'm trying to listen to him more when I feel that, intentionality in my day-to-day life. And the more that I build my relationship with God, the more the easier it is to hear that voice and to know when it's time to do what. And so like I said, I haven't made an episode in a while, but today I felt called to relay this message, and his timing's just always perfect. And going on that, like, I'm in a season right now where I'm on an internship that is paying me very minimal. I get paid like basically enough to make rent, and it's just a internship that's supposed to be a launch pad into your career. It's to give you a start, give you a chance to get in the field, because in my field it's really commission based only, and only 5% of new rookies even get this internship. So I have to give it to myself right there that this internship is only given to 5% of new rookies, and I'm one of them, and I've earned that. And that's something that not I have earned it, but also part of God's plan. I wouldn't be in LA without this internship, right? But I only have a year on this internship before, like, I have to sell a deal, and if I don't sell a deal in the first year, I lose the pay, and ultimately I will be so screwed, and I won't be able to pay rent, and I'll probably be pitching a tent with the homeless people outside, because I don't really have a backup plan here. And so it's 3 months into my internship. I'm not at a point where I'm even able to produce revenue at the moment. I'm still working at the beginning phases, and I had a conversation with my mentor that kind of got me scared, and I was like, listen, like, I'm on a timeline. I started feeling the lack mindset, which I really have worked on my mindset. I do not like to live in a lack mindset. I will be given everything that I need at the time that I need it. He always provides for me. He will not leave me starving. He will not leave me in doubt. The whole lack mindset, that is from the enemy, and I really try not to succumb to it, and I catch myself when I do. And so this week I caught myself being in a little bit of a lack mindset, like, oh, timing isn't there. We need to hit these goals faster. We need to do this faster. What happens if a year comes and I haven't closed a deal and I need to go home and I'm screwed and money won't be there? And what happens if everything that I did was for nothing? And all of this negativity that is 100% from the enemy running into my brain. And then when I was walking my dog and I was just thanking God for just giving me the opportunity to be in the game and giving me the opportunity to work as much as I do and giving me the opportunity to see that my goals are achievable, I was reminded very, very slightly that he always gives you what you need, but not when you ask for it. When the time comes and when it gets closer to that deadline of 12 months and me getting taken off my internship, I know he'll bring me the client I need. I know he'll bring me the deal I need. I know the money will be there when it needs to be there at the end of this year when my internship ends. But I also know from a past experience, he will make me wait. He will make me sweat. He will make me hold my faith. And he will make me get to a point where I doubt. And he will see that whether or not I can still hold my faith when the timeline starts to crunch, when it starts to get close, when it starts to feel like maybe he won't bring tomorrow's daily bread. He will make me hold my faith, and then when I least expect it and when I absolutely need it, he will bring me the client. He will bring me the deal and the money will come in, and I know that. And so I was letting myself get in a little bit of a lack mindset this week where I'm like, oh my God, time is of the essence. What if a year comes and I don't have the money and I have to move home and everything was for nothing? And what if failure comes in? And what if? And then I took a step back and I said, I am doing what I need to do. I am planting the seeds. I am working my ass off. I am putting the hours in. I am doing everything that people, that my mentor and, people who are successful in this business are telling me to do. I'm doing everything right. So why in the world, if I'm pulling my part and I'm doing what is in my capabilities and what is in my control, I am doing what I need to do, why would he not bring me the client? Why would he bring me all the way to LA? Why would he bring me all the way away from my family, away from my friends? Why would he make me sacrifice, live financially, in hardship? Why would he make me struggle with food? Why would he make me go through hours of no sleep and running off pure faith? Why would he make me do all of that for nothing? Why would he make me do all of that to fail? God does not, fail on his promises. He keeps his promises. I am tending to my garden. I am putting in the hours. I am planting the seeds. He will bring the rain. He will bring the rain, and he will make it feel like he's not going to. He will see if I have the faith to get through the challenging seasons. He will make me sweat a little bit. He will make me wonder. He will make me wait till the last minute when all hope feels lost. But when I need it, and when the time is right, and when it is his choosing, and when it is perfect timing, he will bring me the fish. He might make me go work on the Sabbath. He might make me throw a bunch of empty nets. He might make me, question whether things are going to be all right. But he will tell me to cast the line one more time, and he will bring me the fish when I need it and when it is his perfect timing. And so I got rid of all that doubt mindset, and I said, what are you even thinking that is the enemy? Okay, yeah, you gave yourself a year. Yeah, you're on a hard timeline, but when the time is right, he will tell you to cast the net one more time and the fish will come. But not until, he makes you sweat a little bit, until he makes you work for it, until he makes sure that your faith is still there even towards the end when you're getting a little nervous, right? So I just kind of got rid of that mindset. So that's just kind of my thoughts and my reflection of the day. I worked really late tonight. I left the office just so thankful, looking up at the sky like I'm standing in blessings. I was worried earlier this week about whether the timeline would be right, whether failure would creep in, and I reminded myself that we are in a relationship with God, and he has made promises on my life, and I know he's going to keep them. He would not bring me this far only to bring me this far, but when he puts the fish in my net, how can I be upset when it's heavy to bring it onto the boat? So it's just kind of what I wanted to share today, and it was just, I wouldn't trade these nights for the world. I swear to God, when I'm older and everybody in a normal mindset looks at my life and they're like, you're working until 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. on a Saturday? Like, you're insane. but I think that when I'm on my deathbed, these are gonna be the nights that I cherish and I look back on, and just like are the nights that I feel like I really lived and were worth it, compared to the nights I spent partying, or the nights that I spent, with doing things that were just handed to me, or experiences that were easy. It's the hardships in my life and overcoming those are things that I look back with more pride and more just joy and peace and happiness, and just um, pure gratefulness, compared to the nights that were just easy serotonin boost, easy handouts. It's overcoming struggle that makes you just such a better person, more grateful, stronger, happier, and looking at as struggle as a gift from God that is allowing you to become a better version of yourself, rather than a deficit in your life. So that's all I had for today's episode. And just a reminder for everybody listening that when the net gets heavy, remember that you prayed for the fish and he answered. So buckle up, roll up your sleeves, and pull the fish onto the damn boat. Anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you next time for another episode of RD2H Road to Happiness.